Upgraded, it does what? It finishes. If people are asset, it is important and critical that people have to be built up. Opportunities have to be created for people to enhance their knowledge, to enhance their skill. And my at least belief, and I strongly believe in, that any investment in building people capability has a very heavy multiple return given to the company. Because now this is my address to all of people sitting here. If I am hungry for my development and for my growth, it means I am going to do more and more. Who's going to get the benefit? Me and the company I'm working for. The same way, while every individual has to be hungry for his or her own growth. Growth means in terms of capability, in terms of skills and knowledge. And you experience new things. Move away from your comfort zones. Organizations have to do that to build people. Otherwise, doing the same job, as there's a very discussion between geeks and geezers. I don't know whether you're aware of that, that the generation 1 or generation 2, a father speaking to his son, that look, sonny, you're just 18 years of age, and I've got 30 years experience. So I know more than you. And the son turns back and says, I'm sorry, Dad, you did 3 things, 10 years each. Your total experience is 3 years. So don't give me all this kind of a thing. So people have to be given newer and newer challenges. And organizations have to build capabilities of people. When I say capabilities of people, it means building employability of people. A person may be an employee of organization A today, could move on, but people have to be hungry for the success. And organizations have to invest behind. If we believe people are the asset, then this asset has to be upgraded on continuous basis. Now that doesn't mean send people all the time on overseas trainings. The learning and building theory is of 70-20-10, which means 70% of capability building comes on the job. 20% is line manager, which is coaching, which is counseling. 10% is classroom, instructor-led. So I'm sure that if we want to build the businesses in the country, if we want to build the talent in our country, it's important to spend time, spend money on building capabilities of people. And unfortunately, again, that's a very personal view, so please forgive me for that if you don't agree with this. In our country, we don't believe in that. We think spending money on people means waste of money. That's very unfortunate. A tragic part for our businesses, because 90% of the business in this country are private entrepreneurs. They don't believe in building people. Today, where are we vis-a-vis our next door neighbor? We have big joints here, business houses. They could have exploded had they also followed the principle of building people capabilities and believing in professional management. We don't believe in that. But that's something which is very important. Yeah? And the next is reward for performance or pay for performance. Do we differentiate? Do we differentiate between people going by their deliveries, their performance, the culture of differentiation based on performance, based on merits? We all must be working in some organizations. You all may be having some reasonable level of responsibility. Imagine if I want to be paid well, and I want to be paid based on my performance, I'm sure I have a responsibility to the people who are reporting to me, that I drag the same culture there also. I drag the same principle and same values there also. That's something which is very important for building talent and building motivated, excited people. Then clarity on careers. We all need to. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to know, what am I going to do 2 years from now, 3 years from now, next year? Every individual is hungry for that. Do we have a culture in our country, in our organizations, to bring clarity? Perhaps in most of the organizations, no. But that's required. There could be some financial needs of people that they would continue to work, but the moment they get an opportunity, they will never like to work for an organization where they can't get clarity. They all need to have clarity. And I think it's a responsibility of every organization to build a culture where people are given clarity about their growth, about their career direction, and which way they are going. At the end of the day, it's choice of people. They may choose to continue, they may not choose to continue. That's fine. That's what we call adult-to-adult relationship. And the next is celebrating success. That's something which is very important. That doesn't mean that you really have a grand party and a grand kind of a thing. Small successes need to be celebrated. If I look at transparent communication, capability building, task orientation I've talked about earlier, that it has to be not time-based but task-based approach. 10 hours, 12 hours in office. Conversely, a person spending 6 hours in office and delivering more than what a person delivers in 10 hours, which one will you pick up? Smart way of working. The time is gone when people had to spend 18, 19 hours in office. Today's youngster, today's talent is not going to do that. If we don't change ourselves, we will not be able to attract the best talent in the country. It's important for every organization to be very clear that today, the generation of today is more of task-driven than time-driven. They are willing to have challenging tasks and they are willing to deliver, so don't give them the time zones. Yes, there has to be a framework for discipline, but that doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that what I'm saying is that leave the life for open and jungle. It doesn't mean that, but there has to be flexibilities for people to be created. All these things put together do what? Get engaged employees. People are engaged. They love the organization they are working for. They love the environment of that organization. They are excited. They are motivated. And what does it do? It brings growth to the business. And every business wants to grow. And if we have motivated, excited, engaged team of people, it means they are willing to walk extra mile. They take work as their own. They are not there just for a job. They are there for a career. They are there for a purpose. And if they are there for a purpose and believe in that purpose, and they want to build a career for themselves, and they want to generate some extra wealth for the organization, and they feel pride in that, that's what you need. So the talent management actually delivers to that. And when I talk of growth, for me the growth means growth of people and growth of organization both. It always goes together. It can't happen, the organization is growing and people are not growing. If that's a kind of a case, then that organization, that strength, that victory, that growth is short-lived. It's not going to be sustainable. Organization and people have to grow together. The growth would not mean only in emoluments. Growth would mean in terms of the knowledge, capability, and employability. These are the factors. So this is the kind of a thing I wanted to talk about. Then moving on, finance professionals as value creation. Our experience tells us areas in which finance talent act as a source of value creation are financial reporting. Here I would like to engage with the audience here. And please help me out to understand before I could give my experience or Unilever's experience, When we say that creating value through financial reporting, what does that mean? Anybody? All chartered accountants sitting here. I'm a novice. You're an expert. Sorry? When we say financial reporting, how does financial reporting help in creating value